welcome to Own Your Wellness. My name is Julianne Meyer, and I am excited to be here today. I've got a very special guest. I do tend to say that a lot, but she is special, and I love what we're going to talk about today. So without further ado, I'm going to bring her on, Miss Kim Mas. How do I say your last name again? I'm sorry. Mascaro. Okay. Yeah. You know what? It's so funny because I was like, I've got this. And then I'm like, wait a second. I've never done that before, but I didn't want to murder it. So anyway, enough about that. I would love for you to just share about who you are a little bit and your own wellness journey.
Sure. Thanks, Julianne. Let's see. Well, I come here today as a dreamer, as someone who pays attention to their dreams for wellness. So I'm really excited to talk about that today. But my professional background is in psychology. I have a doctorate in clinical psychology with a concentration in somatic psychology. So that brings that mind-body connection into the field of psychology. And so my master's degree was in counseling psychology. And this, of course, led me to want to do more than research, but also to start a private practice. So I do work with individuals, and I teach and write as well. So that's a bit about my professional background. I'm also a sister, a daughter, a dog mom, and someone who loves the outdoors.
Me too. Yay. We have a lot in common. The important things. You're the first guest I've had that mentioned all these things about who you are in this life. So I love that. I love that you're not just, the schooling that you've done and all these other things. You talk about your life and how you spend your time, because I think that that's really important. But the first question that I want to dive right in. You
Sure.
say dreams, and I'm just curious, what your definition of dreams is. Do you just mean the kind sleeping, or do you mean all sorts of daydreams? What's your definition?
Well, dreams, of course, when we hear that word, we think nocturnal dreams. But of course, we can enter dream states and come out of dream states, not just at night when we're, sleeping so deeply, but as we maybe drift off during the day, take naps, go into deep prayer or meditative states. And then, of course, like I said, coming back to what we always think of as dreams, what happens when we're asleep at night. So it can be all of those things. I like to include visions and those as part of dreaming. And that, again, happens when we're fully awake, again, in a more relaxed state. And then sometimes, like I said, as we're falling asleep, waking up. So I like to keep a very broad definition of dreams and dreaming.
Well, I think that that's really important that we clarify that in the beginning anyway, so people will understand what we're talking about, that there's more to it than just I'm passed out at night and, all these crazy things. I ate a bean burrito right before bed, so now I'm having these weird dreams or something.
Exactly.
But, I don't know what made me say that, but anyway. So you mentioned something that I find interesting, because a lot of people think of dreaming and visions and things like that as more woo-woo, as opposed to a science type of, proof, like this is real, and, kind of like, I don't know, just more substantial. But I'm with you, where I think that what is not seen is way more important and way more influential in our lives than something that we can technically nail down in the terminology that we have available at this time. So I'm just curious, how did you end up going from where you started to getting into dreams and visions? Because I find that absolutely fascinating.
Well, I guess the main point of entry was it kind of happened during doc school, and this led to the dissertation I did on announcing dreams, or dreams that pregnant women were having with their babies to be. And so prior to that, I didn't pay a lot of attention to dreams, although I knew they were important in clinical practice. But where they started to become more personal was when I was paying attention to them during my doc program, and had a cousin tell me about some powerful announcing dreams that she had. And then I was talking to other people and they were sharing them. And so I thought, if dreams aren't anything, if dreams aren't real experiences, how is it that one dream can, and here's what I found through research, can make a woman choose medical, for example, amniocentesis. I know one woman that had a very powerful dream experience that led her to make decisions around that, or other medical decisions. Also dreams that these women felt that they actually met the child they were carrying. And in some cases, this was happening before even conception. So they knew, they were very certain the type of personality, how this child would look, the gender, all of these things. And that got me very, very curious and excited about, okay, how is it that one experience, and I was looking at nocturnal dreams at the time, one experience impacts a person's behavior so significantly? Because that's not what we talk about in Western culture, is it? But then I started realizing that other places in the world take dreaming very, very seriously. Islam, for example, takes dreaming very, very seriously. But then we also find dreams in the Bible. So this isn't, right? Several. So it's not something new.
No.
But somehow today, at least, kind of contemporary Western society has come to just give little value to dreams. But again, across time and place, going back in time and all across the world, dreams were, considered real experiences, and you would pay attention to them and they would direct behavior.
Something that you've said twice now, and I've been paying attention, is that dreams are real experiences. And I know that to be true as well on a visceral level. How could you explain what you mean to somebody who might not really have, because like you said, it's not really commonplace in Western culture to take dreams seriously and to pay attention. It's like we always kind of write them off until it actually comes true in our life or something, it's like prophetic and we understand. But how would you explain what you mean by it being a real experience?
Well, for example, and this is, related to a lot of sad circumstances, but let's say veterans coming back with trauma, having dreams at night that are impacting their entire functioning during the day, terrorizing them.
Yes.
How would we tell that person that they're not having a real experience? Waking up in the middle of the night, screaming, heart pounding, visions of places they were, things they may have done. I won't go into further detail because I think you know exactly what I mean there. That could be one example of, how are we gonna, tell a person this isn't a real experience? And we don't, right? As a people, we don't really have a concrete, very deep understanding of non-bodily aspects of experience or spiritual experience, if you will. Some say we are going places at night.
Yes.
Others say, oh, it's all in your head.
Yeah. And also some people don't believe the Holocaust happened. So,
Right. There you go.
That went dark fast.
So what I kind of like to do is not try to convince people that they're real, but say, if you're curious, let's go on an expedition yourself. And we could talk about ways how to set that up, through sleep hygiene and tracking dreams and incubating dreams and doing practices in the day to enhance consciousness at night while we sleep.
I love that you're talking about this because it's not something that people talk about a lot. And I find this whole subject absolutely fascinating. People don't even realize, like the importance of turning off your electronics before you go to sleep and not watching maybe Law and Order SVU right before sleep is probably not the best choice. It will affect your dream state. So, you've been talking a little bit about sleep hygiene, and I'd love for you to share what that means, sleep hygiene, and, how we can improve it.
Okay. Well, we could just think of sleep hygiene as kind of caring for our sleep state, our sleep practice. And sleep is so important. Without good sleep, we don't function.
Mm-hmm.
So caring for that really, really matters. So good sleep hygiene practices can include exactly what you named, not watching intense, scary things before bed or the news even, but making our entry into sleep thoughtful and putting some attention on how are we going to get the best 8 hours if we're lucky enough to get 8 hours a night. And that would be sleep hygiene. Part of sleep hygiene is just saying, okay, I'm going to value that I need sleep. So I'm going to be sure I'm in bed by this time. But other sleep hygiene practices include, let's say, not eating. You mentioned a bean burrito earlier, but not eating, let's say, fried food, greasy food, heavy food after dark. Some say even 6 o'clock or 6 p.m. So to support, to match circadian rhythms. And other things like, for example, not having electronics in the bedroom, keeping lights low, being sure that you have a cooler temperature in the room to promote good sleep. Not having distracting noises whatever you can do. Sometimes we don't have any choice, right? We might have living in a large family with lots of pets and all kinds of distractions, babies, things like that. But we do what we can do where we start to prepare for bed. And that could mean even 2 hours before one would go to sleep to start, doing some type of preparation. And another thing we can add to a sleep hygiene practice is doing meditation before bed, even 10 minutes. Anything to help relax, help set the tone for good, relaxing, just like delicious quality sleep.
I love that. So I don't know why I feel compelled to tell you this, and I've never shared this with anybody. So here, I'm just going to blast it.
Okay. Great.
But whenever I used to have a lot of problems falling asleep and staying asleep. I don't anymore. But if I really want to fall asleep quickly, I say to myself, okay, I'm going to leave my body. And I almost instantly fall asleep. It works like a charm. I don't know what that's about, but I just say, okay, I'm going to leave my body now, and I can just relax right into sleep.
That's really cool. I know no one's told me that, but many would say that is exactly what you're doing.
And it works. So, hey, I don't necessarily remember, and I know that you help people create dreams and like you said, make the dreams more vivid. There's practices that you can use. But here's something that before we get into that, I would love to ask too is, do you find also that when you can help create the life that you want through your dreams?
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can talk about that through dream incubation practices.
Perfect.
Which go along with this. How we can ask dreams to show us and help us and guide us.
Okay.
Getting
So
a solution to something in the dreams.
No, I love that, because your subconscious knows. And that's something that I teach because I am a spiritual life coach, is that we have all the answers within us. So we could just quiet our mind down, that little chitter chatter, then, we can get the answers. So I love that. I love that so much. But, you talked about there's certain ways to enhance and make your dreams more vivid. What can somebody do?
Well, for me, meditation was always very helpful. And so what we do in the day is going to have an impact on what happens to us in our dreaming states. So there's many things and many wonderful authors out there who do write very deeply on lucid dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those would be Robert Wagner, Claire Johnson are just a couple examples off the top of my head. But I can share with you more briefly that for me and for many people, having a daytime meditation practice is
Mm-hmm.
helpful. And also to just have those moments through the day where we are asking ourselves if we're dreaming, like right
Mm-hmm.
now, am I dreaming? How do I know? The laws are different in dreams. Here,
Mm-hmm.
I cannot, I'm holding my book right here, but here I can't put my hand through my book. But in a dream, if I want to, I can. I can't float right now. I can't pull my fingers longer, but in dreams, I can do those things. So questioning, uh, am I dreaming right now? And through
Mm-hmm.
that questioning, not only does it increase the chance I will ask that in the dream and perhaps trigger lucidity, but it also gives us the opportunity to be present in this moment. Because
Mm-hmm.
for so much of many busy people's days, we're on autopilot, you know?
Yeah, no, I've noticed that too. Is you just start doing something, and all of a sudden, I can't even tell you how many times I've driven. I just moved, so I've driven past where I'm supposed to go, and I go back to where I used to live, or something along those lines. And
Mhm.
it's just, it's just because I'm not paying attention. I'm so up in my head about
Right,
something else.
right.
I'm not here. I'm not even here. So I like that idea. And so with lucid dreaming, not everybody is familiar with what lucid dreaming is. So could you explain what that is, please?
Sure. So lucid dreaming is when you're dreaming and you are dreaming in the dream while you're dreaming. So you're having a dream, and oftentimes people will be going just through kind of their typical dream state, but something may trigger them to kind of wake up in the dream
Mhm.
or become aware that their consciousness is dreaming right then.
Mm.
And this can impact not only wellness, but, creativity and all kinds of personal development in so many ways, because we can ask questions to our dreaming mind to show us so many things. I mean, the possibilities honestly are endless.
Wouldn't you say too that at least through dreaming, we don't have all that self-imposed limitations that we put upon ourselves, at least when we're in awake.
Yeah.
I use that term loosely because it's almost like we're more asleep.
Well, I should add though, and this could be part of that dream incubation practice. So, if we're going to try to cultivate a dream
Uh-huh.
that we want, whether it's lucid or not, by maybe getting a piece of paper and writing on it, tonight I will dream about how to solve this problem at my work or something like that. If if we just have our kind of typical dreams, maybe we wake up with a solution.
Mhm.
But if we also are triggered into lucidity, we can ask the dream space, show me how to resolve this tough situation I'm in at work. Or what
Mm.
can I do to improve my relationship with, whoever, or what do I need to do to clean up my health? And so one doesn't have to wait for, dream lucidity to get these types of questions
Mhm.
answered. We can do them in a dream incubation practice where, as we're getting ready for bed, we're thinking about what we want to dream about, we're asking, maybe praying before bed for an answer to come to us in the dream. The possibilities again are really endless.
I love that too because for somebody like me who loves to have control,
Ah, uh-huh.
I like the idea of not control per se, but like being able to guide that part of my brain and help myself, through my own dreams. I think that that would be absolutely fabulous. I love that
Well,
idea.
maybe we should back up a little bit and say something I did want to share. So, if we're going to embark on a journey to include dreams as
Mhm.
part of our guidance and health and decision making and all of this, we need to take them seriously and track them.
Yes.
And uh, that can be done electronically or with a voice memo, or I'll just show you here, old-fashioned way. So I would get, I would get these sometimes just a regular notebook.
Mm-hmm.
But when I wanted to start adding sketches and things, then I'd go to the art store and buy the art notebooks that have the thick blank pages.
Yes.
And that way I could write dreams, but for example, then I could sketch them. So here's an example of a sketch in a dream that I just wanted to put a sketch, and you don't have to be a good artist. It doesn't matter. If I showed you some of my others, they're just scribbles that remind me or provide extra details or recollections for what I was writing. So I would title the dream, I would write the dream, I might highlight some really important words that jumped out, I might sketch it, and you can take it further by making collages of the dream, or as you see here, I have some paintings. My walls are full, 3 walls full of paintings from important dreams that I've had. Clearly, I couldn't paint them all, but some of the more important ones.
So if you're going to track your dreams, what would you recommend for somebody who's starting out? Because, if I happen to wake up in the middle of the night, should I be jotting something down then and then going back to sleep? Or because I think I might forget by morning. I don't know.
Right. No, a great question. Whatever you can do right away is helpful. So some people get those pen lights, and they may, if they want to do it on a voice memo, their phone will be there. If they want to do it kind of the pen and paper style, that you can have that page open with the pen or pencil there. Some people have the little lights. And so that you don't wake up completely, you might just jot what you do remember, a couple bullet points, and then that can help in the morning, unless you feel motivated to write the whole thing down then. Now, others would say, but I don't remember anything. So how do I start on this? I can't recall a single dream.
Yeah.
So to do that, you would still date, put your date at the top when you wake up in the morning, and just see what you can recall. It could be a feeling, how you feel. It could be a color or an image or a sound, anything. You can even play a game where you just don't, you stay out of that judging commentary in the mind and just make up a title.
Oh, I
and
like
put a
that.
feeling that goes with that title, and boom, that's it.
So I'm sorry. So what I'm hearing you say is something along the lines of like priming your brain to start remembering by doing these things.
Yeah, it's like you're telling yourself, hey, consciousness, I want to start paying attention to my dreaming mind now. And we're going to start. Here's how we're going to start. And it just shows that you're taking the practice seriously. And oftentimes people are rewarded well when they practice it seriously.
So what about for somebody who, because we live in a microwave society and we want things right now. So for somebody that's just starting out, is it possible to get results right away, or is it just kind of depends on the person? Like, I mean, I don't want to give up before the miracle. So if I'm, was one of those people that couldn't remember my dreams, how long should I be, trying a certain way to get in the habit of remembering before I figure maybe I should try something else? Or do you understand what I'm getting at?
I do. And here's the thing. For me, I've always had to work for it.
Oh,
but
wow.
Other people I know have gone to like a lucid dreaming retreat, and they have their first lucid dream right then at the retreat on maybe the second night, or, something like that. So it didn't work that way for me. A lot of people I know and colleagues of mine, they've been having powerful dreams and lucid dreams since childhood. I wasn't that way. I can still remember some powerful dream experiences when I was young, but it wasn't like what they describe. So everybody is different, and you can just test things out. So I consider it a slow road, but again, that doesn't happen for everybody. Some people have like just miracles right away, really cool things happening to them immediately. But for me, I had to test stuff out. It's almost like my consciousness just wanted to say, are you going to take this seriously? Because we're not playing around here.
I
And
like that too. And I feel like you're building new neural pathways. So your brain's kind of like, I don't, are you sure? Because this is going to take some work.
yeah, yeah. And again, I don't want to put too much emphasis on lucid dreaming because
Mhm.
that's only a small percentage of the population who dream, lucid dreams regularly. But
Mm.
you don't need lucid dreams to have very powerful guidance and direction from the dream state. Regular everyday dreams, can grow into extraordinary ones simply just by paying attention to them. And if our body wants us to know something, it
Mhm.
it'll show it.
Yeah.
It'll show us. And I'm happy to share. I think we might have a break coming up.
We
Is that
do
right?
have a break coming up.
Okay.
I don't even want to go to break, but we do need to
Well,
go
when
to
we come
break.
back, I'll tell you a little bit about my own from 2018 to now, a little bit of my own kind of health journey with
Well,
dreams.
all right, perfect. Awesome. All right, so we'll be right back in just a moment. Thank you so much, Kim. Like I said, I don't even want to go to commercial. So for everybody who's watching us live, hello, Helene. I just want to say hello to you in particular, but we do have to go to commercial break. So we'll be right back after these messages.
Now, you can vibrationally align your aura. You can gain a larger and spiritual perspective on life, relationships, God, people, wellness, and money. You can also have moments of meditation and reflection any time of the day. And reading the thrilling, adventurous, and mystical story of Shiga will just add more faith to your daily experience of the mystery of the universe.
When drug or alcohol addiction take over, things begin to disappear. Your friends, your family, and eventually, you. Recommended by Dr. Phil, New Method Wellness can help get your life back with individualized treatment plans for dual diagnosis clients. New Method Wellness provides the most highly credentialed treatment in a safe and welcome environment. Call New Method Wellness for your free consultation and ask about our national accreditations. Together, we can put the pieces back together.
As human beings, we are meant to thrive in an environment where true love is shared, where we are welcome just as we are. A space we connect with others with the single purpose to find God as love within. A place we learn to raise our consciousness and vibration for happiness, wellness, and wealth creation. Transformative, an online spiritual gathering for everyone. This invitation is sent to you by www.livingfaithschool.org.
Welcome back, everyone. If you're just joining us now, I've got a very special guest. I'm going to try and say her name without murdering it. Kim Mascaro. There we go. How'd I do? I don't know why I choked. I've never done that before. Anyway, enough about that. I'm so excited. I just want to keep continuing. I would love for you to share what you mentioned before about your own journey. If you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about that. But before you do, I would love for us to put up, this is where people can reach out to you, correct? Your website?
Yes, consciouschimera.com. Exactly.
And what does chimera mean?
Well, a chimera is a mythological creature that has many parts.
Oh,
So, there's a painting behind me, but yeah, I won't move the camera of a traditional one where it's the body of like a few things. So the one I have above me is of a lion, a goat, and a snake. And I had a dream a long time ago where I went down into a basement, and often metaphorically, dream basements can be our deep, our subconscious, unconscious even. And I saw this little chimera statue on a desk. I was in this basement, and it was like a old like library, someone's personal library though. And I see this statue and I pick it up. And so that was the beginning of when I started to have dreams or visions of chimeras. And then it kind of continued where as my consciousness grew of what it meant and my relationship with it, this was, kind of a personal thing for me, but it led me to decide that that's what I wanted to title my website, Conscious Chimera. And my very first blog on that website, the very first one, like over 5 years ago, talks about that experience.
I love that so much. And so people, I know that you've written some books. Can people get your books on your website, or is that the best place?
Yeah, that would be fine to go to because there's multiple pages. And if you click on publications, then you can see my latest book, which will be out in just about 2 months. I think McFarlane says a couple more months. And then my first book, well, my latest is called Dream Medicine, and it's an intersection of wellness and consciousness. And my first book is Extraordinary Dreams, Visions, Announcements, and Premonitions Across Time and Place. So this has a lot of announcing dreams in it because this was birthed from my doctoral dissertation.
Oh, I love that so much.
Thanks.
So I would love for you to share a little bit about your journey.
Sure. Thank you. Well, so I'll start with, let me share a very short dream, if I may.
Of course.
From 2018, oh gosh, 18, end of 17, beginning 18, something like that, where I have a series of dreams that are quite related. And I'll share a short one with you now. So in the dream, I'm in my vehicle and I'm the driver. I safely arrive to my destination, but it's overheated. I see the little symbol light up indicating that the vehicle was operating too high. I worry about how I will get back or make the return trip. It's best to drive slower and not use the air conditioning system, I think. It is necessary to look out for how much I drive and the manner in which I drive. This can prevent overheating. And then when I have that knowledge, I wake up. So I was getting a lot of dreams like that some years back that were reflecting a lot of changes I need to make in my life. That one's pretty clear, right? Our car can be a metaphor for ourselves, and how we drive and who's driving can also be metaphors for how we're moving in life. And so here I am in my own car at the time. I'm driving it, and it's showing me what's going on with my engine or with my body. And I have, like I said, a series of dreams like this that are really reflecting changes are needing to be made, and dreams where there's an element of stress. So thinking about it from, there's many dream theories, but the evolutionary perspective of dreaming, talking about how dreams can help us solve problems or adapt to life circumstances, help us avoid and perceive threats, things like that. I was thinking about that dream and others like it from that perspective. And so I started to make changes. But what happened the following year was I got a pretty serious diagnosis of a chronic illness. And so everything started to make sense. And even getting closer to that diagnosis, I was getting dreams of medical charts and some healing metaphors were taking place. To not go into too much detail, but all these things were happening in the dream. And then how dreams can kind of prepare us, that's an example of being prepared, but then they can guide us a little bit during those stressful times if we do have, a diagnosis like I did. For example, I had dreams telling me what to do and where the problems might lie. So I had dreams telling me what, just showing me foods, not saying you must eat this and how much, but just showing me pictures of broccoli and cauliflower and cruciferous vegetables. I'm giving demonstrations in dreams about cold pressed juicing.
Wow.
All types of things. And then simultaneously dreams about clogged pipes, toilets, backed up sinks, dirty pools, things like that are reflecting to me something's going on. I learned later that the root of what I was dealing with had to probably most likely do with my gut, right? Because we're thinking immune system, we're thinking, the gut is everything. And people don't realize how many signals it sends to the brain. So there is a communication system going on here. The brain's not the big boss like we always think it is. So through conventional and naturopathic medicine, I learned that, yes, I do have a problem that's originating in my gut. And we can hopefully clean that up. And I'm still on the path to doing so. That, other things can find some resolution. So dreams can be diagnostic tools.
Yes.
They can show us a quicker path toward wellness. They can, warn us to what's coming or show us, how, give us metaphors like my driving dream on how to slow down or that we need simply to slow down. Something's overheating in the body. Something's not going right. And so I was attending to all of these things and, it's been a couple years of just all kinds of attention to medical and a lot of naturopathic healthcare. And eventually, some months back, I finally had clear pipes in the dreams. So,
Yay.
Right? It can be it could be this feedback system saying, oh, okay, so maybe you're on the right track now. Maybe you've come to a healthier place. So after more, diagnostics, different tests and things, it looks like my inflammation had gone way down. And that's very important for all kinds of chronic illness. So I, for me on my own wellness journey, trusting my dreams and paying attention to them, logging them, taking them very seriously. For me personally, as just a dreamer, someone who's drawn to dreams, it meant, it could have meant life and death. So it can really be the practice of dreaming can really be something that serves us. Now, of course, on a less serious note, historically, we have many examples of where dreams have helped people solve mathematical problems or given them creative insights, artistic pursuits, inventions, things like that. So we know there's quite a bit of history there. But where my passion lies is, of course, as you know, as a counselor and a therapist, it is in wellness and that healing journey. And so for those who are interested in using our own consciousness to guide us, dreams, I think is a great place to begin. And for some of us, though, we will need patience. It's a slow road, but not for everybody.
I'm glad that you say that because, for somebody like me who I might have gotten frustrated and just quit, without realizing or thought I'm doing something wrong. And, if you don't stick with something long enough, you're never going to get any results. I don't care. It's like that with anything, great if it happens the first day, but it's kind of like going to a personal trainer and say you working out once and being like, well, that didn't work, so I'm going to quit.
Right.
Doesn't, necessarily work like that. So, something I'm curious about too is what are your thoughts about naps? Like, can you use naps to help enhance, and what are your thoughts?
Absolutely. Some of the best dreams I've read about and heard about come from a daytime napping state. So perhaps we're sleeping lighter, depending on if people are doing shorter naps or much longer naps. But even a short power nap can result in profound insight and guidance. So it can even be in those liminal states as we fall asleep and as we're coming out of a nap as well. So it doesn't just have to be while we're, snoring or what have you. It can even be that type of rest. And that gets us into those like hypnotic states, daydreaming states, even, when we get into the alpha brainwave state, meditative states. So any opportunity we have where we can get out of that intellectual mind and go into someplace slower, a little more inward, a little more deeper. And if we happen to doze off, great. All of it is to our benefit. And anything we can recall or take from that can provide a lot of support and guidance if we start to set up those conditions, especially. And I talk about setting up conditions because, like I said, for me, it didn't come so easy. I needed to practice meditation for 3 to 4 months before I even got a strong, lucid dream.
I know I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. I'm so glad that you say that because there's so many people that just don't want to, they want to give up, and
you're reading my mind too, because we're just in this instant gratification culture. And even we see a lot of advertisements, right, for pills and things like that. And all of that has its place. But there's some things that we can grow best on our own from our natural, just God-given abilities, dreams and all of these things where we show that we want this relationship with ourself or our spirit.
Yeah.
And it can reflect it back. It's not going to be, drink this magical solution and all your problems are going to be solved. It just doesn't work that way.
No, and it would be kind of boring anyway, because, who you become in the process is the whole point.
You said it. That's exactly it. Of course, I'm touting all this slow path stuff. But I have to be honest, I've also been very frustrated because I have dreams to this day that I'm still working that took place or that I recalled from years ago that I'm still trying to understand and still working. So yeah, I guess I should share while we're talking about dreams and lucidity and different approaches to all of this. There is a conference. It's an online event coming up in just a few weeks. It begins at the end of October, called The Many Worlds of Lucid Dreaming.
Oh.
And it's an online conference. There's over a dozen presenters, and they talk about different aspects of a consciousness dreaming practice and how that can help in our growth and wellness and evolution. So it might be something you'd enjoy.
Oh, that sounds fabulous, actually. So, I have this friend who she is one of these people that, when I was growing up, I just thought she was a weirdo, but she was still one of my best friends, but I thought she was a weirdo. And the funny thing is that the older I got, the more sense she made. I remembered what she'd said, and I just was too immature to grasp what she was saying to me at the time. But something that happened with her, and this happens on a regular basis, but her husband, his dad was sick, and she had a dream, and he hadn't died or anything, but she had a dream, and he came to her and said, I'm going to die in 3 days. I really need you to get Terry, her husband, to, say his goodbyes, this whole thing. So of course she goes and tells her husband, and he's like, oh, psh. And then the dad died in 3 days. And it happened exactly in the dream, just how he came and told her it was going to happen. So because consciousness is one of those things that we, in our bodies, we don't necessarily understand, but it's all connected. So do you think that it's possible and this is, maybe there's some science behind this, I don't honestly know, but do you think it's possible too that people that have passed away can come and visit in dreams?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask about precognitive dreaming. We can talk about both. Yes, I have dreams of my deceased relatives all the time, and I take it for what it is. I mean, I just take it, especially if it's not me just, in the dream, maybe thinking about them, but if I'm actually having an interaction and getting information and love and support, I personally take it as a visitation, as just a spiritual person that believes that consciousness does not end after the body ends.
Yeah.
And that this is a much longer ride than we think. I personally believe that we can have contact with those that are deceased. But let me say, it sounds weird because we view time in contemporary Western culture linearly.
Yeah.
Past, present, future. You talk to other cultures, for example, in some parts of, Aboriginal Australia, just as one example. And I'm no expert in these areas by any means, but my understanding is that their concept of the dreaming or dream time is the all at once time. It's past, present, and future. It's now. It's everything at once. And when we take this wisdom from other cultures, when we really take in this wisdom, we can see that a lot of things are possible that don't make sense to us in the way we've grown up, maybe here in the United States contemporary times. Also, with that said, you mentioned a predictive type of, or what some call precognitive dreaming. And one thing that I think is important to note here is some people think they don't have precognitive dreams because they forget the small stuff. They think, oh, well, I didn't dream of, someone dying in a few days, and they did, or some big thing. But if people were tracking their dreams, paying attention to the tiny stuff, you would find that precognitive dreams are very common, but we don't notice them because they're the little things.
Yeah.
They might be a certain visitor. We dream of a person coming into our work. Pay no attention to the dream. Yeah. Because we don't track it. We don't value it. But then that person comes into work. We might feel deja vu or a hunch or nothing at all. Yeah. But had we tracked it in detail, we might see that we are having predictive or precognitive dreams all the time.
And, we do that in the waking state too, like I knew you were going to call, or I was just about to call you. And then they, we do that kind of thing all the time. So,
So with that said, I think it's good that we don't, we also don't put strict barriers or parameters around dreaming, and time, so saying, these are very common experiences, and it's very easy to just throw, kind of just, oh, that didn't mean anything, and move on. But if we're paying more attention to our experiences, we may see that things line up in very interesting ways, and you mentioned cognitive. I was just going to say there's quite a bit written about 9/11, for example. And cognitive dreams, all the police, the calls people made to police saying, hey, I had a dream, but what are you going to do? Right?
Yeah, exactly. What are you going to do?
So there, if you dig into the literature, there are plenty of examples of people dreaming very strong,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the little things that are so common that we miss.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
because like you said, we're not paying attention.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's, it's just not important to us. So it's not on our radar, but yet it's there. So
Mhm.
it's kind of, and I would think too that the more you pay attention to your dreams, the more synchronicities you experience in your life.
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of it can be like a bit of a game. And sometimes you can feel like, "Oh, this is crazy," but if we kind of just trust that, consciousness, we're conscious beings in ways that I don't think we quite fully understand, and that we can be guided through dreams and also
Mhm.
in our waking state. And it doesn't have to be a dichotomy. It doesn't
Yes.
have to be we're awake or we're dreaming.
Yeah.
It can flow. And I think people who lucid dream a lot can even understand this more, because if we're conscious in our dream state and then we wake into our waking state, we're still conscious and go back into a conscious dream state, that stuff gets really, really interesting. But for people who want to dive real deep down those rabbit holes, they can look into, Tibetan Buddhist dream yoga and things like that. And
I
that will
love that.
explain this type of stuff a lot more, because we're, we're just barely scratching the
I
surface.
know, we're just scratching the
Yeah.
tippy top. So we only have about 3 minutes left. And
Oh, wow.
so I know it goes so quickly. Is
It does, it
there
does.
anything that you would love to touch on before we end?
Well, I would just like to say that, if anyone is struggling with a health issue, concerned about in mind, body, spirit wellness, that we give our dreams a chance, and that we trust that part of ourself to our spirit to convey important messages to us. So again, like I said in the beginning, consider dreams to be real, consider them to be mirrors of what's going on inside of us. And yeah, and if I'd love to share too, if it's okay, if any of your viewers or listeners would like to have a more in-depth experience of
Mhm.
this type of stuff, they can go to my website and click on retreats. Yeah, thank you, to consciouschimera.com. And another retreat is planned for spring 2022.
That's
Yeah.
exciting. We're finally coming back to in person and
I hope so.
I
And
hope so.
we can mask it. It's fine, if we need
Yeah.
to. Sometimes that's just what we have to do to be together. But we'll see when spring comes, what the regulations are at the time. But we do hope to do some in-person retreats on consciousness and wellness and dream healing and all those good things in Hawaii this spring.
Ooh, even better. Didn't
Yeah.
I think a volcano just exploded there today or something?
Oh goodness. Okay. Yeah. No,
Well, the island is still there, so it's all good. It's all
thank
good.
goodness.
I
Thank
just
goodness.
pay attention because I've got family there. So
Ah, okay. Oh, on the Big Island?
no, on Oahu. Yeah. So
Oh, okay. I have a friend there too, so I'll be sending some text messages or phone calls later today. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah. To have more peace in my own life, I've watched or listened to the news way less frequently than ever before, and
Me
I
too.
just feel better.
Yeah. Well, you're putting that in your subconscious as well. So whatever you feed that, then what you
Right,
focus on
right. And it
expands.
means we
So
don't know about volcanoes erupting. So I'll find out.
yeah, that's true. But see, I told you, so you didn't need to watch all the news.
Know what I needed to know. Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm thankful for
Well,
that.
yeah. Well, Kim, thank you so much for being on the show. It has been an absolute pleasure picking your brain and learning more about dreams. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Great. Have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Oh, I didn't want that to end. It's so much fun just learning and growing and being able to expand ourselves. But that is all the time that we have for today. So everyone, enjoy your weekend. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week.